Now remember, with any great listing presentation, we could cover 3 key areas and 4 key presentation components of each and every listing presentation. So the first and foremost is, do we know why somebody would sell? Do we know where they would go? And by when do they want to be there? Now remember, your presentation, if you self-reflect on it and say, honestly, I don't quite know why they're selling, or I don't know exactly where they want to go, or I don't quite know the time frame in a perfect situation on when they would want to be there, is you know that most likely now I probably have more questions to ask. This is what's key, is in any reflection of a presentation, it's then what questions could I potentially have asked, because I don't have that information. And if I don't have that information, then I probably don't have permission to present your values, your propositions, really around the 4 key components of a great listing process, which remember is the pre-listing qualification. Then we go into the listing presentation. Then we go into marketing and pricing, and then negotiations, which really pricing is a negotiation for most listing presentations. And a lot of these are now getting into your assumption-based, all right, type questions that you might ask, your staying in the game questions, which is what makes you say that, or help me understand. See, because as we ask more of these questions, let's just say somebody says, I don't really have a time frame for when we want to make this change. Okay, help me understand why you don't have a time frame, or help me understand what you're doing to figure out the best time frame for your family. You see, why is not always the best, but at the end of the day, as long as you can ask these questions, what makes you say that? Well, we've got 3 kids in high school, and you could see that these questions are going to allow you to better understand, all right, how certain or what somebody's experience is, which goes back into a lot of your perspective changing questions. And as you start doing this, remember, that's what's going to allow you then the ability to present. I'll just give you a great example on a listing presentation. If we asked them the questions of what's your experience or what do you understand? Well, let me ask you, what's your experience when it comes to professional marketing versus that of traditional marketing? What do you mean? Well, what I mean by professional understanding is, what is your understanding about what we do as a full service brokerage versus a traditional, put it in the MLS, put a sign in the yard and really pray that the marketing is working? I guess I don't quite understand what you mean by that. Now you have the ability to present your services and ask people, could you find that helpful in getting your home sold? And when you start getting more of these yeses, you know what I mean? Or would that be helpful, knowing that your home has already expired once, that you were able to take an approach this time to make sure that it wasn't on the market 6 months from now? Or remember in your presentation questions like, how would it feel if your home was still on the market 6 months from now? Then you can ask, what's your experience? What's your understanding? And remember, the goal in everything that we teach as a framework is not about the presentation is what's most important. It's the qualification and the questions that you ask with such great curiosity that you can truly show somebody you know them. So then that way, when you present, you can ask the courageous questions, which really is about why somebody is not going to choose you or your brokerage to represent them. Why or why not they are willing to pay you a full service commission or upwards to 4 or 5%, which some top experts receive. And then lastly, though, is that if they're not going to move forward today, what is the next action that you can stay in a relationship with people? And if you do that very well, I would say as you self-reflect on any listing presentation, you've done a very good job.